Hi, it was recently brought up to me that I have not redone the instructional videos in a while with the current version of Moodle, so I thought I would redo the level 1 and level 2 certification videos. First of all, we're looking at the level 1 resources for a level 1 Moodle teacher, the way we do Moodle certification here at National Trail. There's 4 resources available to you to be able to use before doing any kind of training on your Moodle course. And those are the file, label, page, and URL. These are the most basic things that you can use to give students access to items in your Moodle course. And if you don't already know, resources are those things that students can look at, click on, but they are not graded activities ever, and they are just that, resources for the students to be able to use and see. So files are just that, a link to an item that you want to have a student have access to, whether it's a Word file, a PDF, Excel's file. It is a file, and that file could also be a video file, could be anything that you can have or that you have on your PC that you want to share to your students is a file that you can share with your students. A label is a label on your Moodle course to differentiate things to make them easier to find for students. I'll go to my course and give you an example of what a label is. So here is my chapter 2 of my Moodle class, and this block right here, this is chapter reading with this line, is a Moodle label. I have all of my classes set up exactly the same. All of them have a chapter reading with a chapter book underneath it on every single one of my courses, so that that label breaks out where the chapter book is going to be on my course. I also have a label underneath that says assignments, and all the assignments for this chapter are listed underneath this label assignment. You can't click on it. It doesn't do anything. It's just a way to draw attention to something on the course. Now, just so you know, a label can be more than a text and a line. You could have a label that's a video, has a picture, anything that you want to just look at right on your course page is what a label is. The next thing is a page. That is a web page that you make in Moodle. So it's something that you can have pictures, videos, hyperlinks, text, anything in a page in Moodle. The last one is a URL, or a link to somewhere else. So let's go through next and show you how you add all those things. Now I am going to say that in Moodle, once you get used to it, everything is almost the same. I've had teachers say, oh, it's really complicated. It's not. If you use it for a little while, you realize all those things look exactly the same. So let's go through adding these different kind of resources to an example Moodle course. Okay, here we are in an example Moodle course. Moodle courses, when they're first set up, have 5 topics, and those topics are unlabeled and empty, and we're going to go ahead and work inside this example course. Now, if you've watched any of the things on standardizing Moodle, this topic number 1 should be your class information, and topic 2, 3, 4, whatever on should be your class material. As you fill and label topics, they will show up on the table of contents. Nothing is in the table of contents because there's nothing inside this course right now. So I'm going to turn editing on, and we're going to do the first thing. First of all, we're going to go in topic number 1, and I'm going to name it. I'm going to name it class information. And now that is the label on the top. It still doesn't show up here in the table of contents because there's nothing in it. The first thing we're going to do is show you how to add a file. So I'm going to add an activity or resource and realize that I've got both those things available to me. I'm going to click on that to add an activity or a resource. So when I click add an activity or resource, I have this core set that all teachers see when they first start. And after you finish level 1 teacher certification, you'll see more. So I'm going to add a file. All I do is click there. Now, every time I click on something, an explanation of what it is over on the right-hand side. I'm going to say add, and then I get what is the normal Moodle page to show up. And all of the things that we do in Moodle look very, very similar. It's just what I end up with that changes. So the first thing is up here is the name. This is what the link is going to be that the students see. There's a red exclamation mark next to it, and what that means is it has to be filled in. So I'm going to write class syllabus and hopefully spell it correctly. That's what they're going to see, and I'm going to add the file of my class syllabus right here. Now you can see there's things that I see and there's things that I can expand on. In general, as a beginner, you don't have to expand on anything. Most of the core settings are already there. That's not always true. Sometimes I want to go in and look at those expanded things and do more. But in general, I'm just going to go right here. So I put class syllabus. I don't need a description because I'm adding a file. So I can just drag my class syllabus right here. So I'm going to open up my T drive and drag my class syllabus right there. Okay, so I've got my T drive open and I've got my class syllabus. Now I've got the syllabus as a PDF and as a doc. I always want to use a PDF unless there's a reason somebody's going to edit something, and that's so that it can be opened up on any device. So I'm just going to drag my syllabus over there. There's my syllabus, and I'm going to say save and return to course. There is one thing on here in appearance that I want to point out. When I open up appearance, it says automatic. One of the options that I like to do is I like to make it open in a pop-up. And I'll show you what that means when it opens in a pop-up. When I save and return to course, there's the file. If I click on it now, it opens as a new file that students can then read that. That's the one difference on this one that I like to use when I'm making a file. I like it to open up in a pop-up. That's it for adding a file to a site. Okay, our next thing is adding a label to our Moodle course. And I'm going to go ahead and go back to our example course and add a label. So I turn editing on, add an activity, and then I go to labels right there. Now, when I add a label, there's very little in a label other than the label itself. Now, this spot right here, this editing area, I can copy and paste things in there. And I can add things straight in there. And just so you know, besides the basic things that we see here, I can hit the down arrow right here, and I have other options as well. And in some cases, if I want to record something in here, if I want to add a picture in here, I'm going to do that with these added items in here. I'm going to take a second during labels to show you all the things that you can do in any Moodle box. Now, this Moodle box is the same for labels, for pages, for assignments. It looks exactly the same, and you can do the exactly the same thing to it. So I can add text in here like that, and I can go and I can highlight that, and the tools are very similar to everything else. There's my left, center, and right indent, and if I hold my mouse over all these things, it says what they are. I'm going to change my text size to large here, and I'm going to go ahead and bold and underline that in my label. Then I'm going to start a new line, and I'm going to make a link. I'm going to unbold that stuff, and I'm going to make a link so students can email me. I'm going to put my email address in there, and then I'm going to hit save and return to course and just show you what that is. I'm going to put that on top of my thing. That's what the little draggies are for over here. If I can get it and drop there, there we go. Now this isn't a link, it's just my email address, but I can change that into the link, and I can go back and edit it at any time. I'm going to change this into a link to email me. So I'm going to highlight that and go to the link button right here. That links, that unlinks. So I'm going to go ahead and hit link. And A lot of people don't know this. If I write mail to and a colon, and I type my email address, now this is going to be a link, and I'm going to tell it to open in a new window if somebody clicks on this link. And I'm going to hit create link. I'm going to save and return to course. And now if a student clicks on there, it opens up in a new page, automatically goes into Gmail because that's my default mail editor, automatically puts the address in there and makes it so a student can email me right now just off of that link. I'm going to go back and edit and say edit settings again. I can also add pictures. I'm going to go ahead and add a picture of myself under my contact information. And pictures you see are not in here. They're in the drop down. And so if I go to the drop down, now I've got some new button, I've got paragraphs, now I can get advanced text editing like strike through and subscript and postscript. I've got the ability to do equation editors if I'm a math teacher and I'm doing equations in there. But I'm going to go over here to this picture of a picture and I'm going to insert an image. Now, when we insert an image in here, it says, hey, where is this image at? And I'm going to hit browse. It's totally messed up. Oh, it came right here. That's what I was trying to do. And I'm going to upload an image file, and I'm going to choose my school picture. And then after I choose that, I'm going to hit upload this file. And it's ginormous. And I obviously don't want it to be that big, so I'm going to go ahead and shrink it down to, I got to say, 100. That's more than big enough. Now, anytime you add a picture into something, it's going to ask you what the alternate text is. And that alternate text is part of making it compliant for students with visibility issues. So I could type picture of Mr. Poole, or I could click description not necessary and I don't have to type anything. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save image. And now that picture is right there inside of that label. And I'm going to go ahead and hit save and return to course. And there I have my information in a label at the top of my class information section. So that's how to add a label. There's lots more things that you can add with labels, lots of ways you can use labels. I just caution you that if you use too many, it kind of clogs up the page a little bit that we're looking at. Okay, the next thing we want to add is a page to our Moodle course, and I might have information that I want to share with students that I fill out all the information on the page. So I'm going to go ahead and add one of those. So I'm going to add an activity or resource, and I'm going to add a page. Now, a page is kind of like a label, very similar in that but the difference is when I click on it, then I go to a new page that I see that information. So I'm going to put information, Mr. Poole there. Now, there's the asterisk, and there's the asterisk. This description is nothing. Pass by that. The content is where I want to put the information that I would want students to see when they click on that page link. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my background info and just toss it in here. So I've just grabbed my kind of background that I had from my teaching page, and now it's down there on information on Mr. Poole. So the way this works now is if a student clicks on this, it goes to this page that gives my background and what I did prior to coming here at National Trail, right there as a page on my site. So I'm going to go back to that example class and go back into class information again. And that is what a page is. You can put anything, any information in a page. My personal experience is that if I've got websites that I send students to, I have lost those sites over the years and that they've taken the information down that I was having students go to and read. So I started copying their site, putting it on a page in our site so that that can't ever go away again. That's one of the ways I use pages here at National Trail. Okay, the last one is a URL. So adding a URL, very simple adding a URL. I add an activity or resource and go to URL and say add. And all it is again, the link that they're going to look at and then where they're going to go. So I can add whatever in here. Okay, so I'm going to have since it's my computer hardware class, I'm going to have a link to jobs that are available in computer hardware. Let's see, I found this little link right here. We'll go ahead and use this one as someplace I want students to go in my class. So again, the asterisk show, I have to say what the name of it is and where they're going. This is one of those ones that I'm going to open up appearance because they're going to go somewhere else. I don't want them to leave my classroom, so I change it from automatic to a pop-up, and I'll hit save and return to course on there. So I've got a little information, a link to myself in a label. I've got a page that opens about me. I've got a file here, and then if I go to hardware jobs, it clicks and then it opens up to this article on jobs in computer hardware. So those are your level 1 Moodle resources.